Okay, so we typed in our data, just a summary, by saying L1 equals, and then typed in the list. And then to find the mean, we did mean of L1, gives us that, median of L1, standard deviation, and total. We just type in all of these in Desmos to get our answers for here. And then if you're already ahead, start looking at question C and figuring what is going on there. So, min is 175 and max is 785. Sum is 3216. And then it says use the min and max values to find the range. There is no command in Desmos for the range, so you just have to do the math yourself. Or you could do what somebody figured out is you could do, if you're really lazy, you could do max of L1 minus min of L1. I'm not lazy, but efficient, right? Is 610. So there you go. The range is 610. But what I was saying is that there's a question on your homework that talks about measures of center versus measures of spread. So you might want to listen to this. Measures of spread are the different measures that represent how far apart things are. So things like standard deviation is measure of spread. Range is a measure of spread. Interquartile range is a measure of spread. A measure of the center are things like mean, median, and mode. Okay? So I basically told you the answer to one of your homework questions. No. It's a measure of center versus measure of spread. And then what happens if you remove the outlier from the data? So I'm going to go back to my data. I'm going to remove the 785. That's the outlier. And the mean gets lower. The median gets lower. Standard deviation gets a lot lower. The total gets a lot lower. And the range changes. The range gets smaller too. So everything changes except what? Yeah, the minimum. So chapter 10, hopefully you're finding is a breath of fresh air from all of this quadratic stuff that we've been doing. Something familiar, something easy. Am I right?
Sure. Yes.
Doesn't get a whole lot harder than this. No. Oh, why did I circle everything? Oh my gosh. No, I'm saying in chapter 10. Yeah, chapter 10. Chapter 6 is pretty easy just because we're going to skip a lot of it and do most of it in Desmos. And then you'll take your air test. And then after that, we will... no. All right. Are you on number 2 yet? Let's try number 2. So I would not delete anything. Just go up to your list and delete the numbers that are in your list, but don't delete the actual row for it. And then start typing in your data. So 5.7, 2.3, 6.6, 12.7, 80.2, 1.1, 0, 5, 6.6, 15.4, 9.7. That's not exactly what I meant, but that's okay. Yeah, okay, that's fine. All right, so mean is 13.2, median is 6.6, standard deviation 22.7, total 145.3. Are you in agreement? If anybody is finding anything other than what is on the board, please raise your hand and get help.
That's too much effort. I was amazed.
Okay. Yes.
The one was like 13.2090909.
Uh-huh.
Do I put all that or do I just round it to like 13?
13.2. Yeah. Never put all the numbers. Okay. Shh. All right. So part B is a little bit different than the other one. It says to increase each data value by 10. Did you do it yet?
Yeah, I just did.
So I'm thinking if I'm increasing everything by 10, I'm thinking about what is going to change and what's not going to change. So think about that maybe before you write the numbers down. Will the mean change? Or what will happen to the mean? Will it get higher or will it stay the same? Probably get higher. The median will probably get higher. Standard deviation, will that get higher? Why? Why does the standard deviation not change?
Because it's still the same difference in numbers because everything is added.
Yes.
And the range stays the same.
Yeah, all the numbers are still the same amount away. They're just adding 10 to everything. So the mean is 23.2. Median is 16.6. Standard deviation stays the same. Min is 10. Max is 80.32. And then sum is 255.3.
Oh yeah, it's 19.
Any questions? Yeah, I don't know why this it is 90.2. Why this is 80. No.
Yeah, we're done with that.
We're gonna do 3, and then we're gonna do a couple questions from the other pages. We're not gonna do 4, so you can cross 4 off. We're not gonna do the. I don't like teaching the quartile commands because it's so hard to remember. Like, who's gonna actually remember that? It's easier to just figure it out, the interquartiles by hand, which we'll learn about later this week. Okay, so now what do you notice about this data set than our other one?
X was up by 1.
What do you notice about this table than the other tables? Adam?
That one has a C chart. The other one just had numbers.
Or Ben, sorry. I call him Adam.
Are we getting
A T chart?
I think that's what it's called.
I get what you mean. It has 2 variables,
Yeah.
right? So that means we need a list 1. We also need a list 2. But there's less things to find in it. So what I would do if I were you is just reset my whole thing. Like, just get rid of all of these because we're not going to need everything. And then do L1 equals and type in the x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then L2 equals the y's 6, 17, 15, 78. Oh my. Might be an outlier.
If it's an outlier.
Then we're going to find the mean of the x, we're going to say mean of L1. And the median will be median of L1. Does that make sense that they're both 4? If you look at the data? Because the numbers go from 1 to 7 and 4 is in the middle. So that makes sense that the mean and median are both 7. Or 4, I mean. So 4 and 4. And then for the range, I mean, just do it by hand. 7 minus 1 is 6.
Someone's knocking.
For the mean of y, you'll just change it from L1 to L2. So just delete the 1 and put a 2 for both of them. So it's 20.9 and 12. For the range, do 78 minus 6, which is 72. Okay? Any questions about that part? Then we are going to remove the outlier. So the outlier would be the 4 is 78. So you're going to get rid of both of them. Even though 4 isn't an outlier within the x's, it's still part of the coordinate that's an outlier, because we need to make sure that the numbers in the list are the same. So if we get rid of the 78, there's only 6 left, so we have to remove the 4 so that there's only 6 left in the x. Yep. So get rid of the 4 and then the 78. So it goes down a lot. 11.3 for the mean, and then 11 for the median, because 11 will be the average of 10 and 12. So 11. Oh, I did list 2 first. We'll go back to list 1. And then the range is now 17 minus 6, which is 11. Then find the mean, median, and range of list 1. Is it the same? There's not a range button. But remember, you could do L1 or max of L1 minus min of L1. Well, there's not. So 4 and 4. And the range is still 6, right, Elise? Okay, hang on a second. So the mean and the median didn't change even though we took away the 4, because 4 was already in the center. So you're not, when you average the numbers, it's still needed. You don't have
I also need water.
I don't know. I
have no
packed
idea.
lunch because I'm a healthy herbivore.
I'm not healthy.
Are you fat shit?
There is no fat.
If you're not into yoga, Do you have half a brain? Are you not in a yoga? Dude, it's stuck in my head.
Okay. So, which of the values have changed? This is 4, 4, 6. So only the mean of y, the median of y, and the range of y changed. So the x's didn't change. Any questions? What are you doing? Someone could be allergic to dairy. Not munch time. Lunch time. Okay, I could talk about that. Making a video. All right, we're skipping 4. And then let's go on to this question. So we are going to do, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do number 1 and 2. We're going to save number 3. This is not the homework, even though it says homework at the top. This is just what we're doing in class. Remember, the homework is in Polaris. So, oh my gosh, I just said that. We are going to save number 3 for after we do the OST checkpoint tomorrow. Have you guys been doing checkpoints in some of your other classes for the air test? I think science, you do some checkpoints. Okay, so let's look at this question. Is it really important right now? No, just hold on. Yes, that's your homework, but we're not doing that right now. Right, it's on Nedulastic.
Wait, is or isn't? I'm actually like.
Do I have permission to smack him?
An analyst researches the relationship between different energy sources in each state in 2014. The data in the table shows the number of states that use coal and nuclear power as an energy source. Given that a state does not use nuclear power, what percentage of those states use coal? Here's the important part. It says, given that the state does not use nuclear power, that is going to be, given that means out of, so that means out of the states that don't use nuclear power. To get a percentage, we need to set up a fraction. So what would be, the denominator of your fraction will be the total number of states that don't use nuclear power. Guys, are we paying attention? So how many states total don't use nuclear power? Rada? Right. So it's this column that you're looking for. Out of those 32, how many use coal? Mateo? Yes. So if I type this into my calculator, and you've got Desmos pulled up with you, you could just type in 20 divided by 32, 62.5.
62.5% of states use no nuclear power but coal.
And then I want you to read number 2 and figure out the answer.
Complete the response grid and the answer.
No, not that. No, number 2 on the paper. You what? Great news? What's your great news?
I'm gonna work on it now.
Wow. Oh my goodness. You should really try to test out of Algebra 2. Do you want to do that? You sure? How about tell me who your teacher is next year when you find out, and I will talk to them. And just tell them, hey, Rada already knows a lot. I don't know what you want to do with her, but just for a warning, unless you want to tell them. Huh? Oh, bless it. Okay. So anyways, did you guys figure out the answer? Ben? The No, it's neither of those. It's the mean.
It's the mean.
Good job.
Remember that one question, if everything is increased by the same amount?
Can we get new seats?
Wasn't it the range?
No, I don't want new seats. I do.
Yeah, I do.
No.
I don't want new seats.
10 minus
No.
six is good.
Which data set, which changes? So anything that's about the range is not going to change. Interquartile is a range. Range, standard deviation is a range.
Oh, what changes?
These, so I'm sorry. These are all measures. You might want to write this down because this is, again, that question on your homework. These are all measures of spread. Sorry, I didn't mean for this to be line. So these three, range, standard deviation, interquartile range, those are all measures of spread. That's it. That's not going to change. If you haven't taken the quiz yet, please go out into the hallway because I'm going to pass them back. So take your Chromebook. Now you can work on the homework when you go out into the hallway, okay? Hold on, I have to stop the video.